This is a pre-trip on 752. We're going to start by popping open that hood and checking all of our fluids. You come inside of the driver's side door, you're going to find a latch near the floor. Pull that up. Then if you come around to the front, you kind of lift the hood up a little bit. You're going to feel a latch inside of there, right about here. Slide that to the left and push her up. Start passenger to driver. Right here's your fuse box. Make sure that cover stays on there. Here's your battery terminals. Make sure they're all tight and not corroded. And then directly behind your battery is your washer fluid. If you can't see it in there, that means it's empty. So always keep that topped off. Inside the engine bay, in between the fan and the motor, you're going to see a serpentine belt. That's that black belt that's right down there. Make sure it's not hanging off of any pulleys. If it's not damaged, make sure it's not worn. There's a couple of belts in there. There's that thick one right there and that thin one right over here. That's really important to check out and make sure everything's okay. Right in front of you, where the grill is, you're going to see this tank. This is your coolant tank. You're going to see max and min onto the side. Make sure this thing's like topped off to the max. Not all the way full because it is pressurized. Come around to the driver's side, you're going to find your airbox filter or your air filter. Make sure that this thing is nice and tight and not moving around. Next to that is your brake fluid reservoir. Make sure it's in between max and min. Then down in the engine bay, you're going to find your oil fill and your oil dipstick. That's where you fill it, that's where you check it. You're not going to find a transmission fluid dipstick because this thing has a sealed transmission. If I can set this up, we're going to check the oil. So when you're checking the oil, make sure the engine is cold and not running. That's how you get the better reading of where it's at. So you come down in there, if I can reach. I can almost not reach it. I'll hold it for a second. You can't pull it up the first time, just kind of twist it and it'll pop right up. So when you pull it out, make sure you wipe it off. And you're going to stick it back in that hole. Until it's flush. I can barely reach it, so I have to extend my arm a little bit. But it should click back in there. And then when you pull it back out this time, now you're looking for your oil level. So if you look on the dipstick, you're going to see those two punctures and that hash in the middle. That's where you want it to be. So this thing's good to go. But as long as it's in here, you're okay. If it's anything below that, you have to top it off. Make sure you put the dipstick back in. You don't want any oil spraying out of there. Make sure it's ready to go. If you look up at the top of the hood, if you're doing an oil change, this thing takes 6.5 quarts of oil and it takes 5W20 engine oil. Please check your fluids daily, and this, once again, this thing has a sealed transmission. You're not going to find a dipstick. If you look down in between where we just checked the oil and that driver's side fender, you're going to find this rod right here. That's your steering rod thing. It's what connects your steering wheel to your tires. Make sure that thing's not loose and wiggling around. Just tug it a little bit and you should be good to go. Close the hood. I'll show you a set of the front and a set of the back. It'll save me some time. But once again, you're checking all 4 tires, all 4 corners, everything. Your PSI rating for for your front tires is right here on the fender. All your PSI ratings should be on each corner of the vehicle. When you're checking your treads, stick your fingertip in there. If the tread doesn't come almost halfway up your fingertip, you're kind of low on tread. Your lug nuts are a little harder to check because you got a hubcap on there. Take a general look inside the wheel well. Make sure nothing's dangling and in the way. Then take a peek at your rotors, which is that shiny piece of metal right there. You want those to be as smooth as possible. They should not be wavy. If they're wavy, it could mean you need a new rotor and brake pads. If you look behind the tire, you're going to find this spring. Make sure it's not cracked, damaged, or, destroyed. I believe the shock is also in there. I don't think this has, like, normal shocks. Right here is a part of your tie rod and your A-arm and all that good stuff. Just make sure everything's tight and buttoned up. They shouldn't be loose or dangling. And you're checking for your axle seals. Once again, if you're looking on the inside of the tire down on the bottom towards the ground, you're looking for any oil that may be coming out. It's passing the gas cap. This is a gas truck. Only put gas. It does not have a fuel cap, so you don't got to worry about that. Just make sure this little flap closes and you're good. And always make sure you close your gas cap. Once again, your PSI rating on the back. Check your treads. Stick your finger in there. Once again, lug nuts are a little harder to check. Take a peek at your rotors. Those don't look wavy, but they do look a little bit worn out. Those might have to get redone maybe in the future. It'll last a little while longer. Check behind your tire. Right here's your shock. Make sure you don't see any oil coming out the bottom part of the shock. Your leaf springs, make sure they're not cracked, damaged. And then once again, you're looking for any oil that may be coming down the inside of your tire. That could be a bad axle seal. You come inside the truck. You're going to find your dealer sticker, one of them anyway. You're looking for GVWR. That's this one right here. This thing weighs 6,010 pounds. So that's your weight for this vehicle. You should also find your driver's log. Please focus. This is a list we're checking off. So we're going to check all 3 of these off, and then we're going to go over driver's items. Here's where you put your weight. That's what that GCVWR means. How much does this truck weigh? And your height is located on the dash. We'll go over that in a minute. Before I even get in here, I'm going to check my seatbelt. I'm just going to pull it out, click it into place, and make sure it holds. This thing doesn't have fire extinguisher or triangles because it's a shadow vehicle. It's way too light. Normally it's following a spray truck that has those items. So you don't got to worry about those with this scenario. You come inside. You're going to check out all your glass, your windows, your windshield, your mirrors, all of it. Make sure nothing's cracked, damaged, or broken. Your keys should never be locked inside the truck or in the truck because that's how they get locked in the truck. There's a job box on the back of the truck you're going to see when we go over lights. That's where they should be kept, or it should be kept with the spray vehicle in that job box. I'm going to turn my accessories on and my radio off so you can hear me better. To the left of the steering wheel, you're going to find this dial. These are your parking lights, headlights, automatic, and off. It's right there. I'm going to turn this thing to headlights. Your parking brake is right here. All you got to do is pull on it, and then it'll blink at you and tell you your brake light's on. And I'm assuming if you pull on it or push on it. Okay, so you got to push brake and release switch, and then that's what turns your parking brake off. When you're testing that, you're going to pull on the parking brake, let that light blink at you for a minute. Then with your foot on the brake, you put it into gear, and then you're going to see if this thing rolls after you've let your foot off the normal brake. It's very important you don't leave the vehicle when you're testing this, just in case it doesn't work. But once again, to release it, you set your foot on the brake, you push this button in, and then your parking brake comes back off. On on here in the steering column is your little joystick. Twisting this lever makes your washer or your wipers speed, or it controls your wiper speed, and pressing this button in on the end makes your washer fluid come out. When you're coming, yeah, it's not on the dash. Okay, so right here is your airboard and beacon. That's for your power to it. And then this switch, I believe this stuff controls your airboard. We're gonna put it on left arrow. I believe that should be on. Up here on the top, you're gonna see your height. This is 9.3 with the board up. And then right here is your 4 ways. What am I missing? Oh, heater and defrost. These are the universal signs for on and off. Please check to see if these work. Here's your fan speed and your hot and cold on that side, and circulation and all that good stuff. Check your horn, make sure that works. Sure does. And we'll get out and check lights. So from the front, you can see that we have a headlight and a 4-way, headlight 4-way. Same thing on this side. If you look, you can see your beacons are working, and your airboard's kind of flashing. Right now I have my left arrow on. You're looking for any bulbs that may be out. You got a brake or a 4-way and reverse lights. Make sure both of your license plate lights work. One of mine is out. Once again, 4-way. And then you have those lights right there on the back side of your cab. So I'm going to turn my 4-ways off by pressing that button. I'm going to stick my high beams on by pushing this joystick away from you. It turns them on or off. And I'm going to throw a turn signal in there. And I'm going to flip to my right arrow on my airboard. So this switch right here controls left, right, and flat bar. Those are your options. So as you can see, my high beams are now on. Those are 2 separate bulb housings. This one's your low beam. This one's your high beam. The same on the other side, low, high, and then your marker and turn signal light. As you can see, I now have my right arrow on, and I've got a bulb out on that side, that one right there. And my brake light, well, my turn signal on this side. By now you should kind of get the point. Check all of your lights. Make sure everything works, including your airboard. Once again, on and off. That's how you turn it off. Just flipping that switch toward you. Your airboard power. It's right here. Brake and reverse lights, you should be checking with another person. It's safer that way. Plus, it's a little bit harder to push on the brake and check it yourself. So, let's go through the list. So we checked all of our lights, our windshield wipers, horn, gauges. Gauges you're checking while the vehicle is on. You're going to make sure everything seems to be working properly. And we don't have fire extinguisher triangles in this truck. We checked all of our oils, belts, and fluids. Exhaust system, you're listening for any leaks with the vehicle on. Around the vehicle, we checked our fuel tank. We open and close your doors, see if they latch. We don't have mud flaps. And the rest of that is good to go. Make sure you have your driver's license. It's a normal driver's license for this. You don't need a CDL for a pickup truck. You always have to have your medical card on you and your proper PPE. It's a shadow vehicle, so it'll be something along the lines of pants, work boots with steel toes, high-vis vest, and to look professional. and I don't know, whatever extra your foreman might say you need. Make sure you get a good night's sleep, and this is a pretty new vehicle, so you don't got to worry about the brakes adjusting. Once again, this is where you put your weight. Here's where you put your height, located on the dash, and this one's located in the door jamb. Here's the box where you put anything wrong with your truck, like the aero board light out or anything like that. And then you get to sign your life away and start your work day. Have a good one.